Hey guys, nothing too exciting to see here, but I wanted to do a check-in video from the Greyhound bus. We are in the state of Texas now, traveling from Lafayette to Texas by Greyhound bus. You know, I do a fair amount of bus riding these days. I stay in some different rooms, and I'm gonna put together a little video, show some of my bus trip, might show one or two of the rooms that I stay in, and just talking about my life a little bit and what it's like now. As some of you know, I spent some time in monastery, and I spent some time running a sober living house that the monks ran, and now I live this kind of semi-monastic life where I sometimes stay with family or friends. I sometimes stay in a rented room, and I probably spend about half as much time in verbal prayer as I did when I was inside the monastery. I'm still attempting to get to the point of the prayer of the heart where I am praying without ceasing and where I'm praying at all times. I haven't quite gotten there yet, but I can honestly say that I do spend the majority of my time in prayer. And then I spend a lot of time working on YouTube content and content for X and Facebook. And so just riding around my bus is a lot of what I do these days. And on this bus trip today, I had kind of an interesting experience. I can talk about it now. Couldn't have talked about it earlier when he was on the bus. But you know, when I first get on the bus, it's fairly empty. And you know, I got on the bus, and you know, I had my own seat, and that was nice. And as the bus started filling up, I knew someone was going to sit next to me. Well, when a very, very large man, I would say around 6 feet 4 inches tall and probably about 360 pounds, picked me to sit next to, I was initially very bummed out and disappointed, and I was surprised that he picked me to sit next to. I'm not as big as he is, but I'm a big guy, and I'm about 275 pounds right now, and I tend to spread out of my seat as it is, and having somebody much bigger than me sitting in the seat next to me was uncomfortable. And so my initial reaction was kind of selfish. You know, it was kind of like, man, why is this guy sitting next to me? And I don't want to sit next to this guy, and this guy's going to disturb my prayer. And there were so many other seats he could have chosen from. Why did he choose to sit next to me? Well, I found out quickly that he had probably identified with me as a fellow ugly old white big guy. And because he quickly struck up a conversation with me in which he told me he had just been released from prison, where he had spent the last 5 years, and he was on his way to Texas. He was going to be staying in a halfway house. He had a job lined up in about a week, but he had a lot of fears associated with just getting out of jail for 5 years. He'd also been sober for a little while, but not that long. And, you know, I got the opportunity to pray with him. And it was very, very meaningful that I got the opportunity to pray with him and talk with him. And I ended up being so happy that he chose to sit next to me. And it shows you how sometimes if we're just a little bit open to things, they'll turn out a lot better than we initially expected that they would. Okay guys, next part of the video. I am now in Austin, Texas. That is a cat. That is Mira, a mixed Maine Coon. That is what's supposed to be a cat exercise wheel. It operates as Mira's bed. This is Eddie. And both of these cats belong to my son's mother. And we're helping each other out. I'm staying in Austin for a little while, and I am renting a room from her. I frequently rent rooms in different places that I go to on my journeys. And here I have my crucifix with that reed is actually the palm they were handing out at Palm Sunday recently, so it is blessed. And here I have my icon, and I have one of my battle rosies. Let me take off the battle rosary. You know, I have battle rosaries, and I have beautiful rosaries. And I pray both with battle rosaries and beautiful rosaries. But what battle rosaries are inexpensive rosaries that get real beat up, that I sleep with, that I carry around with me, that are somewhat durable, but it's also okay if they get all beat up. And so this is one of my beat up battle rosaries. And that beautiful icon was done in honor of St. Sergius of Rezendoa. And I'm very, very close to St. Sergius of Rezendoa. That's where my name comes from. And it's part of where my name comes from anyway. And that is an icon of the Blessed Trinity that references a place in Leviticus, actually, where the Trinity appears without the Jews realizing that it's the Trinity that appears. But three angels appear. And anyway, that icon means a great deal to me. And we have a couple of litter boxes in here, and I have a comfortable bed in here. So I am fine in here. There's the cat litter box, so or the cat tree. There's another cat in here. The other cat is simply called Black Cat, and Black Cat is semi-feral, and Black Cat does not make a lot of appearances if I'm up and around, but Black Cat comes out and plays with the other cats. If I wake up at night, Black Cat will be doing all sorts of things and interacting with the other cats. But then if I suddenly move, Black Cat tears off in fear, and Black Cat is in hiding. I can't actually cat. But it's okay, guys. Sorry for the awkward cut there. I am not Mr. Professional video maker. I am Mr. Very Amateur video maker. But anyway, showed you the room, talked about the bus trip a little bit. I have no idea how long this video is going to go. I know I'm going to end it with a song that's about basically being a homeless pilgrim. And I want to explain to you why I live the way I do, and why I live this kind of nomadic lifestyle, and kind of what my calling is. So a while back, after I had been through particularly traumatic experience in life, and I had been separated from what at that time was my main family, I ended up going to a monastery for a while. At first I had this idea that it was going to be very temporary, and then I really felt called to the life, and I really wanted to stay there forever. I did not want to leave that monastery. It was Assembly Contemplative Order where I was. We prayed the Liturgy of the Hours every day. We had greater and lesser silence every day, but we also had a couple of 2-hour work periods in the community, generally every day. And you might be delivering food, Meals on Wheels fashion. You might be working in the homeless shelter. You might be working in the youth center, or in the library. And I absolutely adored the life. And I got very, very close to Christ there, and really renewed my relationship with him. And I wanted to stay forever. And I was not allowed to do so. And what the abbot told me in his rejection of me is, he said, you're older. And he said, there are problems with most older men, and you have them. And what it is that they've lived lives. A young man, it's very easy for him to go to well, it's never easy, but a young man doesn't have a lot of commitments. He doesn't have a lot of people depending on him. He said, you've lived a long life, and you basically have 5 kids. 2 of them were foster kids, and 2 of them were step kids, and 1 is your natural son. And right now you think that all 5 of them are out of your life. But he said, they're all coming back. He said that they're all coming back. And he said sometimes people, particularly with their grown kids,
Their kids are grown, maybe their wife has died, they want to go to be monastery, but those kids are going to keep coming back into their life. People are going to get sick, people are going to get married, people are going to have children, and there are going to be a lot of things that call you away from monastery. And he said, that's what I see happening with you. Now, they allowed me to run their sober living house for a while. I was, at that time, and now I'm 23 years sober, but at that time I was 22 years sober, and they ran a sober living house, and they let me manage their sober living house for a little while. I did that. That was not my calling, and I still have a close association with that monastery. I still visit and I still pray there. But I basically began looking for where I was supposed to be and what I was supposed to do. And what keeps happening is that God keeps, and it really started before I ever went to monastery, but I find that God, for the last number of years, keeps calling me to different places, but then they're only for a season. They're only for a short time. And then it's time for me to move on somewhere else. And he keeps putting me in situations where there's maybe one thing that I'm supposed to accomplish, and then I accomplish it, and then it's like on to somewhere else. There's a book, it's going to be very much referenced in the song I'm going to play at the end of this video. It's an Orthodox book, but I highly recommend it, The Way of the Pilgrim. And one of the things that happens to the pilgrim in there, all he wants to do is be a hermit. All he wants to do is find a place to be and pray. He wants to pray without ceasing, and that's what he believes his calling is. But God keeps moving him, and God keeps calling him from place to place. And then something will happen, like he'll find the perfect place for a while, but then people will find out about him, and in his mind they will be disturbing his prayer, coming to see him. But actually God is calling him to help all of these people. And there are different forms of service that he ends up having to provide over and over again. It's a funny thing about prayer. There's a debate among some people whether you do more good in the active life, serving others, or whether you do more good just praying for people all the time. I tend to believe that prayer does more good than active service, but people need active service too. And let me tell you one of the reasons it's impossible to not pray too much. First of all, God does call us to pray without ceasing. Now that involves reaching a type of prayer where we're even at prayer when we're doing other things, and we're even at prayer when we're actively engaged. But the other thing is that if you are genuinely seeking God's will and you're making it an attempt to do nothing but pray, what will happen is every time it's time for you to get up and do something, God will tell you that it's time to get up and go do that thing. Or he will just bring somebody in knocking on your door. Or he'll bring a great big guy sitting down to you, sitting down next to you on the bus, disturbing your prayer. But what you're supposed to do is talk to that guy about your relationship with God and encouraging him in his journey to stay sober, and things like that, you know. So that is what happens to me. It keeps on becoming absolutely clear that I'm supposed to be at point A doing that thing, and I'll accomplish a lot there, and then God will be like, now I need you over here. That priest was right. That abbot was right. All my kids are in my life now in one way or another. And there's 5 of them. And 3 of them are now in Florida, and 1 of them is now in New Orleans, and 1 of them is here in Austin, Texas. I've reconnected with my son in Austin, Texas, and that's awesome. I have a relationship with him. I have a relationship with the kids in Florida, and I have a relationship with the child that is in New Orleans. And I don't know what's going to happen from month to month or year to year. It is entirely possible that I may end up adopting that child in New Orleans as my former stepdaughter. And it's entirely possible that I won't. And God is in charge of whatever happens. Now, I'll be honest, I'm kind of longing to be settled down in one place. And I hope God will do that for me. But if he doesn't, I'm going to keep roaming from place to place. I live a semi-monastic lifestyle these days. What does that mean? It means that I try to be a hermit on some days, and I try to just keep to myself and not go out and engage with others and do nothing but pray on some days. It means that I do my best to pray the liturgy of the hours every day. Each one of those prayers, I try to go to Mass every day, and I try to spend as much time in adoration as I can. Now, I mess up. I'm a weak man, and there's all kinds of defects of character that I have, and I can run into all kinds of distractions that can mess up, and maybe I don't pray the 5 times that I'm supposed to in a day with the liturgy of the hours, or maybe I miss a rosary, or maybe I miss a chaplet of angelic warfare through my own fault. through my fault, through my most grievous fault. Other times, God puts people in my life that I'm supposed to help. The other thing that has happened that never would have happened had I been in that monastery is this YouTube channel. This YouTube channel is, I didn't have a cell phone. I didn't have use of a computer when I was inside of monastery. And one of the things that I discovered after I got out was AI. And I'd always written a lot of songs. All my life I had written songs, little ditties, except I can't write music and I can't play any musical instrument. I might get a tune in my head and have the idea of a basic tune, and I would write all of the lyrics. But I didn't really have anything to do with that. You can try to make it as a songwriter. It's tough to do. It requires a lot of luck, particularly if you're not even able to play a musical instrument or do anything to distinguish yourself in any way in the beginning. But I wrote these little songs and I wrote these little poems all the time that I never did anything with. And when I discovered AI, I realized, wow, I can load these things into an AI computer and it'll make music of my song. Now, the first product that I always get when I do this, the lyrics are 100% mine, but the voice isn't mine, the musical instruments aren't mine, and even the whole writing of the tune is not mine. But then I started off as a lyricist, and now I become kind of a producer. Maybe I don't like the voice, so I go and I start swapping it out for a different AI voice, or describing to the AI what kind of a voice I want. And I keep making different versions of the song and making adjustments to so there's a certain craft to it. And basically, I'm a lyricist who then uses AI to produce music. Now, my son is an awesome guitarist and an awesome vocalist. And I'm going to get him to start recording some of my songs. And that's a wonderful thing. But this whole thing is something that I wouldn't have discovered if I hadn't been out of monastery. I started the YouTube channel, and from the beginning it was about music, and it was about politics, and it was about Catholicism, and it was about Huber. So I was kind of all over the place. I'm getting called more into the Catholic videos lately. And it's funny because I'm not a professionally trained theologian with a degree, and I'm not a priest, and sometimes I feel like, what right do I have making a video on the Immaculate Conception or on Catholic dogma? Well, there's a lot of people that just aren't going to listen to a priest, and they're not even going to listen to a professional theologian, nor are they going to look at a super slick, professionally produced video. But if they think somebody is just some guy, they'll actually look at it. And so this has become a real ministry to me. Being able to talk about the faith, being able to explain the faith, being able to do kind of catechismal types of videos, and being able to do spiritual type videos. And it's awesome for me. And so this is kind of how I live my life now. In general, if it wasn't for interruptions from God and the world, what I would probably do is I would probably spend about half my time making online content while trying to be in a state of prayer at the same time. And I would probably spend my other half of my time fully in prayer. But I got some stepkids that need me, and some former foster kids that need me, and a son that actually needs me and likes having me in his life now. And so I enjoy being with them, and I enjoy helping them. And different types of service keep popping up their head. You know, it isn't just service. Sometimes it's chaos. Sometimes it's things that I don't like very much, but it's because there's some lesson that I need to learn. It's also about accepting the consequences of my actions from years of my life. I wasn't always the best dude, and I wasn't always the smartest guy. I had a long-term immoral affair with a married woman, but a child came out of that. And it is my responsibility now to be a father to that child. I'm staying in his mother's home right now. We don't particularly like each other. We don't particularly get along, but I chose to sleep with her on and off, mostly on, for 3 years, many years ago. And she had my child. That means I'm kind of required to treat her like family, and she's in need. She has health problems. She has a big giant dog she can't take care of by herself. So I find myself renting a room from her, which helps her out with money. It also provides me with a room cheaper than I can get anywhere else. And I take care of a big giant dog, and I help her out with the cats, and I take the trash out. And I can't tell you, as a heterosexual male, how many times I kind of get bothered because I feel like I'm putting up with all the negatives that go along with being married without getting any of the positives that go along with being married, if you know what I mean. But I did that many years ago with her. And this is a different type of relationship now. And because I reproduced with her, I will always owe her something. It doesn't matter how much I do or don't like her. I'm required to love her. And at the same time, she's helping me out too. It's nice to be able to have a very, very, very inexpensive place in the same city as my son, so that I can afford to go and see my son, and so that I can spend as much time working on online content to hopefully make a pittance and make a little bit of money and actually survive. So that's what my life is like, guys. I'm kind of constantly trying to live the life of a hermit monk, but I mess up and I make mistakes and I get angry and I miss mass or I miss prayer, and people need my help, and they come to me and they want my help, and I have to help them. And to be honest with you, it's a beautiful, beautiful life. I'm lonely a lot. I'm also kind of in a state of extreme spiritual consolation a lot. There's still also time periods of spiritual desolation that I have to walk through. So that's it. That's what my life is in. That's why sometimes you're going to see videos out of New Orleans, and sometimes you're going to see videos out of Lafayette, Louisiana, and sometimes you're going to see videos out of Austin, Texas. I'm planning a trip for Florida next month to spend some time with kids. And I generally live below the poverty level in the United States. But here's the funny thing about the United States of America, particularly in this modern world. You could live below the poverty level and essentially be wealthy. I don't have a car. Got a room. It's climate controlled. Don't have problems with heat or cold or weather. I have shelter. I have a comfortable bed. Got some cats to keep me company in this room. I go out and there's a big happy dog that I play with, and there's a big screen TV. Everywhere that I go, generally, it seems that I have climate control and whatever television I want and basically all the comforts of modern life. I have this little supercomputer called a phone that I carry around in my pocket. I have access to any music that's ever been done. I have access to any literature that's ever been written. I can talk to anybody that I want to anywhere in the world. I'm fat. I overeat. One of the things that I've actually lost some weight recently. I'm pleased about that, but I need to keep losing weight. I need to keep doing a job of eating healthier. My health care is completely covered by Medicare and Medicaid. So I have free health care. So I'm making the point that you can live below the poverty level in this country and have absolutely everything that you need. And in terms of most human beings who have ever lived, looking at the entirety of human existence and the entirety of the world, they would look at my life and they would say, wow, what a lavish lifestyle. How incredibly wealthy that man is. So we got to get out of pride, and we got to get out of desire for unrealistic things we don't need, and we got to not compare ourselves to others who have more than we do, and pretty much realize that if we have food and shelter and health care, and my goodness, a phone with the internet, I mean, we're pretty well off. So my gratitude is pretty constant. Every now and then I lose it a little bit because I'm human and I mess up, but usually I'm in a state of gratitude. I usually have joy in my heart now, even if there's some chaos going on, and even if I'm not getting any spiritual consolation, even if I'm walking through the desert, there's a kind of a joy in the midst of the suffering sometimes that goes on now. So I'm very happy to be living the lifestyle that I'm living. And I may never settle down in any one place again. And the truth of the matter is that I'm in many ways taken care of by society with Social Security and other government benefits. And now I make a teeny bit of money doing my social media, and I'm actually able to give to others and share with others, and I'm able to live a productive lifestyle and do my best to follow in Christ's footsteps and die to self, and actually, hopefully, one day rise and be with the Father in heaven. That's what my goal is all about now, guys. But anyway, I'm done. That's the way I live, the way I do. Hope this video wasn't too boring. Wanted to show you a little bit of the bus trip and tell you about it. Wanted to show you the room that I'm renting and explain to you this lifestyle that I live. I do invite you to check out the channel and check out the different content that's on the channel. I try to do enough with my playlist. If you look at my channel, I name the different playlists so that hopefully people will find what they're looking for and not find what might offend them. Some of my Catholic and Christian followers don't like some of my political content and are offended by it. Some of my conservative and MAGA people might be fundamentalist Christians and might be offended by some of my Catholic content that I have. Some people love my sense of humor. Some people don't like my sense of humor. Some people love the song. Some people aren't interested in little music videos that are nothing more than slideshows with my own written songs that I've then converted into AI. But I try to name everything so that you can find what it is that you're looking for, and hopefully you can find something here that is your cup of tea and you'll enjoy the channel. You can subscribe to the channel for free. You can also join the channel at 3 different levels. At the highest level, which is $29.99 a month, one of the benefits that you get from that is that I will call you and talk to you on the phone for 20 minutes, and we will together talk about what kind of a song you would like me to write for you, and I will write you your own song. And once I've written and produced that song, if you want to give it to your wife as an anniversary gift, or you want to give it to a parent, or you want to give it to a child, I've written songs. I've got a playlist of songs for clients that I've done. And I've done love songs, and I've done mother-child songs, and I've done different types of songs. And then the song is yours. You own it. You can do with it what you want. If you want it to get listened to a lot, I can have it available on my channel. If you don't want it available on my channel, it doesn't have to be available on my channel. If you want to put it on a channel that you've got, you can do that with it. So anyway, that's one of your benefits that you get, is that I'll personally write you a song. But it's all explained on the site about the different membership levels. So please check it out. And whether it's at the free level of subscribing for nothing, or whether it's at the $29.99 a month level, or if it's at one of the in-between levels, I think you can probably find some good stuff that you'll like, and hopefully you'll spend some time here on my YouTube channel. God bless everybody. Talk to everybody again soon.
I'm a Roman Catholic, but one of my favorite books is Orthodox, The Way of a Pilgrim. Every time I read and pray my way through it, the defects of my character are given a trim. The opening line is, by the grace of God I am a Christian, by my deeds a great sinner, and by my calling a homeless wanderer of humblest origin, roaming from place to place. That line could only be written by one coming from a space of humility and grace. By the will of the Father I wander on this path, sometimes in his love, sometimes in his wrath. I agree, we are saved by faith through grace, but living faith is a work. Both the scriptures and the church make this case. I want to find a place to quiet my soul, a home where I can feel whole. But the road keeps turning, and I must comply. Into the arms of the everlasting I seek to fly. It's not that God didn't send me to each place for a reason. It's just that each place, it seems, is only for a season. With every step I hope to find a sacred space, but the winds of the Spirit keep blowing me from place to place. In every fleeting moment I crave a solid ground, yet the echoes of my calling remind me I am bound. By my deeds a great sinner, a conscience filled with doubt. By my faith a great saint, a heart filled with love who wants to shout. In this pilgrim's journey I seek a constant state of prayer. How can this wild dragon do that if I don't find my own lair? Oh Lord, I pray for rest, but if faith without works is dead, show me what to do to avoid that dread. I want to find a place to quiet my soul, a home with love where I can feel whole. But the road keeps turning, and I must comply. In the arms of the everlasting I seek to fly. It's not that God didn't send me to each place for a reason. It's just that each place, it seems, is only for a season. I seek to pray without ceasing. Lord Jesus Christ, Son of the living God, have mercy on me, a sinner.